We're going to look at multiplying and dividing negative numbers today, but let's start with the warm-up. Let's simplify each expression first with what we went over yesterday, which is adding and subtracting negative numbers. So if we have negative 3m minus 4m, it's like adding 3 cold cubes to the cauldron. So I'm going to write this out. So if this is our cauldron like we had yesterday, right here, our cauldron, it's like adding 3 negatives here and putting in 4 more negatives. So if you can see right here, negative 3m minus 4m is negative 7m. And over here we have negative 11h. We're putting in 5 hot cubes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So a hot cube and a cold cube, they would cancel. These 2 cancel. These 3 cancel, so we're left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, negative 6h. So negative 3m minus 4m is negative 7m, negative 11h plus 5h is negative 6h. Since we spent yesterday looking at adding and subtracting, today we're going to look at multiplying and dividing. And we're going to look at it in terms of this same story as yesterday and find a general rule. And then we'll apply that rule or practice the rule. So when the chefs use bunches of cubes to change the temperature, they use multiplication signs to record their activity. For example, to describe tossing in 5 bunches of 20 hot cubes into each cauldron, they would write adding in 5 bunches of 20 hot cubes each, raising the temperature by 100. The 5 meant 5 bunches were being added, 20 showed they were hot cubes. The chefs could also change the temperature by removing bunches. For example, if they removed 3 bunches of 5 hot cubes, it would be negative 3 times 5, and that would change the temperature negative 15. So they're removing 3 sets of 5 hot cubes. You're taking out hot cubes. Your answer will be negative. So let's do a few problems and apply that. So question, what is a positive times a positive? That's like adding in 2 bunches of 6 hot cubes, and that would give us 12. It would raise the temperature 12 degrees. What's a negative times a negative? That's like taking out 4 bunches of 7 cold cubes. So taking out is minus, and cold cubes are minus, and a negative times a negative, what does that equal? It's a positive because you're taking out cold cubes, and if you're taking out cold cubes, the answer then will be positive. The temperature will increase by 28. So a negative times a negative is a positive. A positive times a positive is also a positive. What is a positive times a negative? It's like adding in 3 bunches, so I should use red, 3 bunches of 6 cold cubes. Now if you're adding in cold cubes, it will make your temperature go down. How many? By how many? By 18 degrees. So adding in 3 bunches of cold cubes will reduce our temperature by 18. What is a negative times a positive? Well, it's like taking out 5 bunches of 2 hot cubes. So taking out 5 bunches of hot cubes. If you're taking out hot cubes, again our temperature will go down because you're taking out hot cubes, and it'll go down by 10 degrees. So a negative times a positive is a negative, and a positive times a negative is a negative. Let's summarize. And again, most of you are really strong with these rules. When you're multiplying and dividing only, if the signs are the same, then you will get a positive answer. A positive times a positive is a positive. A negative times a negative is a positive. If the signs are different, however, it doesn't matter what order, but if you have one positive and one negative, your answer will be negative. Okay, let's do a little bit of practice. So you can pause here, try it, and then hit play and check your answers. And I'll put them up here. Let's talk about some of these answers. Again, a negative times a negative is a positive. A positive times a negative is a negative. This means negative 50 divided by 5, and that's negative 25. This means negative 49 divided by negative 7, and that is 7. This means negative 8 divided by 9, which is negative 9. And this means negative 5 times 4, which is negative 20. Now notice the negative can go above, on the side, or below, but if there's one negative, the whole thing is negative. Okay? All right, complete this after your quiz. So here's your assignment that you're going to work on in class and turn in. After you take your, we'll do an assignment check today. I'll do a few of these, and then you can check your answer. All right, complete this worksheet, and if you have any questions, we can go over them in class.